Well, I appreciate everybody joining us for this Lunch and Learn. We have about 40 people on right now, and we're excited to share our mission. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jeb Myers. I have the privilege to serve our community as president here at Cristo Rey Jesuit High School. We're going to do a few there's some introductions here. The agenda is a few of us staff will share a little bit about our history and who we are as a community and why we are here. And then we have 4 wonderful students that will form a panel, and then we'll have a dialogue with everybody during the presentation. So we're really excited for you to be here, but look forward to sharing our mission. You can please mute your screen so that we can keep this clear for everybody to hear. But thank you all for being here. If Ms. Cass could move to our next slide. So we're Cristo Rey Jesuit High School is a high school in the Phillips neighborhood that really began with when Jim and Colleen Ryan saw the very first Cristo Rey school in Chicago, and they saw a lot of the issues that Minnesota was facing. They saw that going on in Chicago, and they saw Cristo Rey as a solution. You may or may not know that in Minneapolis, St. Paul, we have one of the highest graduation rates of students who identify as white in all of the country, and yet only 70% of our students from diverse backgrounds graduate from high school. And how this really breaks down is if a student is Black, we are 48 out of 50 states in the country. We rank 48th out of 50 states in the country in terms of Black students graduating from high school on time. And we rank 50 out of 50 states for Latino students graduating from high school on time. There's a great book out there. If you don't have it on your shelf, I would encourage you to read it. It's entitled The Color of Law. It's by Richard Rothstein. His argument or his thesis is that the most effective, but not necessarily the best, but the most effective public policy in the 20th century was redlining. And unfortunately, we can still see that today. We have some beautiful images here from the McKnight Foundation where they've done some research in the neighborhoods. These are the neighborhoods of Minneapolis and St. Paul. This map, the darker shade of the neighborhood, the higher percent there are of adults working in that neighborhood. You can see on the left side, there are 3 neighborhoods that are pale. The one in the upper left is North Minneapolis. The one on the right, upper right, is the University of Minnesota campus, largely. And then the Phillips neighborhood, where we are, is kind of the central neighborhood. And so you can see that the percent of adults working in those 3 neighborhoods is not as high as the other neighborhoods surrounding it. On the next map, this is the percent of people living in poverty. It makes sense that the students that go to the University of Minnesota are not probably working. It also means that they aren't bringing a lot of income in because they're sharpening their skills at the university. You'll notice that in North Minneapolis and the Phillips neighborhood, unfortunately, are also shaded darker, which means there's a higher percentage of people living in poverty in those neighborhoods. You can see the southwest neighborhoods of Minneapolis are pale, meaning that there are very few people living in poverty in those neighborhoods. On the next map, unfortunately, again, mirroring this is our percent of people of color living in those neighborhoods. Again, you can see North Minneapolis and Phillips neighborhood show prominently in there. And so what does this tell us? It shows that redlining still exists here in Minnesota. And despite legally being off the books since the 1960s. And Cristo Rey, we are a mission that we provide access for our students and families to a Catholic Jesuit college and career preparatory school to unlock their potential, really prove that education or upward mobility is possible through education, so that our students can then transform the communities. Next, thank you. Part of our solution as a school, the reason why we are effective in this is we have the college prep education for students. We have the 4-year work experience in professional work. That is vital because that's where communities are coming together. And then we support our students to and through college through all of our college counseling and alumni support. 90% of our students are the first in their family to go to college, and we want to support them all the way through college so that they earn their degree. I shared that we were kind of inspired, or Jim and Clean Ryan were inspired by the Cristo Rey movement at the very first school in Chicago. That school has now grown to 37 schools in a national network across the country. Collectively, our schools serve just under 13,000 students. We have 20,000 graduates collectively, and pre-pandemic, we had 3,500 corporate partners where our students earned over $80 million on the job towards their education. All of our schools serve families that are living at or below the poverty line. They all serve, or they're all Catholic schools, but are open to many faiths. We ourselves have students from a variety of faith backgrounds that we come together with. We are all college prep, and we all have the corporate work study program. But we, again, social equity is at our core. We are here to invest intentionally in people, organizations that reduce or address the systemic barriers that plague Minnesota and our society. And the corporate work study program builds a pipeline of future workforce leaders and helps that talent to develop itself as we look towards the future. You can see in our demographics that we are largely a Latino school with a strong population of students who are African immigrant and African American, as well as students from others. We have about 500 students in our school, 75% of which those students come from Minneapolis and St. Paul, and just under 90% qualify for free reduced lunch. And last week in the newspaper, I read that the University of Minnesota has made a commitment that any student whose family earns under $50,000 would be able to go to the University of Minnesota for free. The average student at Cristo Rey's family earns just under $50,000, so it's a very good possibility for our future students. To talk more about our school, please welcome Ms. Erin Healy. She's our principal and does a fabulous job with both our students and our faculty.
Hey everyone, thanks for being here. As Jeb said, my name's Erin Healy. I've been with this school since 2008, and I love our community. I love being part of the students and the teachers. Obviously this year, the movement online with the pandemic has been a challenge, but I'm just incredibly impressed with how our students and teachers and families have adapted. And there's some information here about our programming. I would just like to share about our students themselves. You'll have an opportunity to ask lots of questions in the panel. I would just note that they are incredibly hardworking. I don't think you'll find teenagers harder working than our students. They're funny, they're kind, they're creative, they're very justice oriented. Really, they come alive when they talk about making this world a better place. And it's just inspiring and exciting to hear them speak about what matters to them. And I'd also say a quality of our school is that it's loving. That's not often a word ascribed to schools, but it's actually one of the charisms of a Jesuit school. Our families are deeply important and part of our community, and we're just excited to be able to continue to serve and be here in partnership with our students and families. I would add just about our school, we recently sent students a survey and just said, what is it about our culture, our school culture, that we really need to keep a hold of and keep in mind as we are able to come back together in safety after COVID? And the main thing students pointed out was just, I love how I feel known at Cristo Rey. I love that people are good to each other here. I feel cared for. Teachers are always willing to help me. And it was just this wonderful affirmation of what students and families value about our school community. And we are a college prep institution. So I mentioned how hardworking our students are. We're standards-based, and so to be promoted, our academic programming is to meet every single standard, and that is incredibly challenging. We work with students until they meet proficiency, but it takes a lot of persistence and hard work And we believe that that helps our students to be ready, not just to attend college, not just to be accepted, but to persist. And we offer rigorous classes across our curriculum. We do have 10 AP classes. We're really proud of our performance on many of our tests. We're at or above the national level. And also we've seen a lot of growth in our PSAT scores. And so we're very proud of our faculty. We're proud of our students and just really love this community. Go ahead, Jess. Obviously this year there was a switch to move online. So we had to learn new systems, new technology, all new laptops, and tons of communication, but we really have still continued to form and build that community. Our community though exists after high school. Cristo Rey is 4 years here, and then the 4 to 6 years after high school graduation. We do maintain that 100% college acceptance, but last year, even in the midst of the pandemic and how incredibly tumultuous and traumatic many things were happening in our world, 84% of our students still matriculated to college to start the fall, which is actually a pretty incredible number. So those resources that we have in the building, the curriculum, all of the support in college counseling, we have a 2-person team of college counseling and a 2-person team of alumni counseling. And so there are a lot of barriers that exist still in college for people who haven't had as many resources or as much access. And so our alumni counselors work with students to continue to persist, to see through those barriers, and really just to be a peer and a support. We welcome our graduates back all the time because we think this 10 years between when you begin here as a freshman, the summer before your freshman year, all the way through your college graduation, we want to be a partner in your success and feel the pride and excitement as you move forward towards your hopes and your dreams.
Erin, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I'm sorry I'm joining late, so I may have missed something that was asked before. So I'm a fan of Cristo Rey, and I know it exists nationally, and I know lawyers all over the country who speak very, very highly of it. So that's the background. So I'm interested, especially in the Twin Cities. How did students find Cristo Rey? How do you find students? What's your pool, and how do you put it together?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. We actually have had a wait list for the last few years. We do get far more applications than we have spaces in our building. We admit and have about 130 in each freshman class because our goal is to be about 500 as an entire school. And we pull students from all different middle schools. I don't know the exact number, and Jeb, you might know, but it's almost 50 different middle schools in the past. Students come from Catholic schools, charter schools, public middle schools, and we do pull all over the Twin Cities. We have a 2-person admission team, and they have developed these partnerships over the years, both with middle schools and also community partnerships. They speak at churches. So there are all these different pockets of the community that know us and that promote us. That's really our best way to get our word out, is our families who have loved Cristo Rey and tell their nieces and nephews and cousins that they should come, and also teachers who've seen their 7th and 8th graders come here and experience success and have really seen them thrive. And they've asked students in their classes coming up to also apply. And churches, and as I said, community organizations that have been affiliated with us for years, we get all of those sort of the boost to our hardworking admission team. Go ahead, Jeff.
So Erin, there's no surprise here that some of the Minneapolis public schools, the high schools, have done well, but they're high schools that are largely white and middle class or upper middle class. And some of the schools are not doing well at all. Your population is much more diverse than some of the high schools in town, but you're doing much better than some of the public schools. What's the difference? What's going on?
Yeah, and I think we all do better when, all schools are able to thrive. And so I can't speak to what's happening specifically in those high schools. I know here that just our system of constant supports, we have social workers who are incredible supports to our students, a family liaison that is in constant communication with families. And I think just honestly, this aligned vision of success, our students, our families, ourselves, we're all looking for the same thing. We're excited about the development of young people, of course, as all educators are, but this vision of college success and college preparation and the grounding of the work-study program and just all of the additional skills that brings, I think that gives our school this really special culture. And then we devote a ton of time and resources to build that sense of community and a lot of layers of support. Last spring, when everybody suddenly went online, we had 12 staff members who spent almost their entire day following up with students and families just to ensure they had access to technology. They were working, they were following up on things if they needed anything. We really try to do what we can to wrap around support, to eliminate barriers. And I think being small and being able to be really responsive to our community is incredibly helpful to help us do that.
You used the phrase something families, initials before families, PDC or something. What was that? You used the phrase, we go out of our way to help a certain kind of families, and you used initials before that. So it's probably an acronym that you're familiar with, and I'm not. Do you know what that was referring to? Certain kinds of families you went out of your way to help.
Oh, we had 12 staff members, following up with all families. We were tracking data to see how students were performing and following up with families when we weren't hearing as much from students or we had higher concerns. A lot of our families relied on us for nutrition throughout the spring and other resources. Our social workers were working overtime, as an understatement. I don't think I used an acronym. I think we're just, the phrase we use here is family partnerships. We want families to be a partner in the education, have a place at the table. It's their children that we're a part of educating, have the honor to educate. And we're excited to form those partnerships and deepen those as we continue.
I think the key piece of our community is we've really taken the Jesuit value of the Latin phrase cura personalis, care for the whole person, and really work to solve each area so that our students and their families are able to develop the body, mind, and soul of our students through our shared work. So
I'd
I think
agree.
that's good.
I'd agree. I could talk all day about our students, but I want to make sure we get to the panel. I don't want to steal their time. You're going to want to hear from them. So Jess, you can go to the next slide. These are just some of the schools our students have been attending and found a lot of success. Our college counselors do an amazing job of helping students find match. There's a lot of data that goes into, all students apply to more than 10 schools. 10 is the goal. We have like a variety of metrics to look at all the different types of schools and to really help students make a really sound choice with students and families so that they feel like they're at a place that fits them well and they can find a lot of success. All right. So tons of great schools there, many, many, many others. And Kasaya Kobol, our CWSP director, go ahead, take it away.
All right, thanks, Erin. My name is Kasaya Kobol. I'm the director of the Corporate Work Study program here at Cristo Rey. Cristo Rey is the only high school in Minnesota that offers 4 years of professional work experience in conjunction with the college prep program that you just heard Erin talk about. I'm going to talk about 3 different buckets. Briefly, first bucket is what is the work study program? The second is how does it work? And the third is why is it important? The work study program is independently incorporated. We function as an employment agency with Cristo Rey as a school. So Cristo Rey students are the employee of the corporate work study program, not the business partner. We manage all of the fun stuff like employment verification, payroll, insurance, taxes, and all onboarding requirements so that the student, when they come to our corporate work study program businesses, they are there to work and you do not need to worry about all of the employment requirements to get students onboarded. Partners pay a competitive annual service fee to corporate work study, not to the students, and the dollars paid by partners directly funds students' tuition to attend the rigorous college prep program that we heard Erin talk about. Take a little peek at the graphic over on the other side there on the right-hand corner of your screen. There is a picture that helps to summarize the workday rotation. So all of our students at Cristo Rey, they work in 4-person job sharing teams to fill a one-time full-time equivalent position during standard daily business hours, Monday through Friday, the entire academic year. So you get talent for the entire academic year. Each grade cohort is assigned a work day. For example, seniors, if you look at Tuesday, they work every Tuesday. And in addition to working every Tuesday, seniors also work one Friday out of every month. And the other grade levels are also assigned a day of the week to work and are integrated into the rotating Friday workday schedule. This is important because the value that students bring to the company, that's a full year-round service, which is awesome. This year, we're partnering with 83 corporate work study partners, and our students work across a variety of industries and a variety of different departments. So you can see on the screen, Bryan Companies, 3M, API Group, US Bank, those are some examples of our wonderful partners. Within those different partners, students are working in finance and accounting teams, human resources, and in marketing, and also in IT. So why is this important? For students, CWSP Partners involvement provides them with access to professional networks and environments typically underrepresented by their communities. And it equips them with the social and technical acumen to enter and have access to careers. For businesses, a partnership with Cristo Rey provides emerging leaders at sponsoring businesses with the opportunity to develop their management skills. And partnership with Cristo Rey also develops your community's access to a diverse talent pipeline, which I think is one of the most exciting parts about our program. Many businesses stay connected to our students after they graduate from Cristo Rey and give them access to internships while they're in college, which turn into full-time employment opportunities. So we see our pipeline with our students with you all for 4 years while they're in high school is a pipeline to having them be integrated as diverse members of your communities for long-time opportunity. CWSP benefits the students, businesses, and the Twin Cities community, and is a really unique program that I'm so excited about. As I'm sure you can tell, I get really excited. Our common goal is educating and preparing students for college and their career, and I'm so excited that you're here today to learn about our program. So I'll kick it back over to Jeb.
Thank you, Kasaya. And what's fun is when we share our impact here, more and more of our companies now are employing our graduates post-college. Right now, it's 8%. A year ago, Kasaya shared that 83 companies are currently partnering with us. Last year, we had 124 companies partnering with us. It was closer to 13% of our corporate partners had at least one alumnus or alumni working at their company. Again, building that pipeline, bringing communities together. But just to share, and I saw in the chat a question about graduation rate. One of the wonderful things that our community does, in my opinion, is we are not just filtering our students looking for the jewels. We have 97% year-over-year retention at our school. And if you go onto the website of Brecker Blake, they'll tell you they're the best in the state at 95%. So we like to share that percent. We're retaining our students. We've had 100% graduation rate from high school since our 4th year of operation. We've had 10 graduating classes, and our students are 3.5 times more likely to earn a college degree upon graduation from Cristo Rey than any other than similar students, similar demographics across the state. Just for clarification, for our college graduation rate, our 6-year college graduation rate, it is somewhere between 40 and 45%. We only have 4 classes so far that have been in that. But just to share a unique data point, only 58% of high income students going to college graduate within 6 years of college. Our goal is to be 70%, which we are inching towards, but we're at about 40 to 45% right now, and we are just as excited as, you know, on the slide that Aaron showed, the colleges that our students have attended and graduated from. There are many others. We are just as excited for our students that find their path to Georgetown as we are students that choose the North Dakota School of Science to get a diesel mechanic degree. We want our students to have a path. We want to support them to their dreams and have the ability to choose between paths when they get to their senior year. We are also, our school is also located right next to, or is in the neighborhood of where George Floyd was killed. And COVID-19 and George Floyd have drastically impacted our mission. COVID-19 has made it more difficult. Many of our families are on the front lines. Aaron talked about how we really, in March, we had to accelerate or amplify our efforts in helping to feed our students as we shifted to being a community where physical distancing was important. Many of our families lost their jobs as they are in frontline industries. So we have worked to help stabilize their housing. We've helped to stabilize their food security, and then also ensure that they're continuing to receive a high quality education. George Floyd impact on our community has only emphasized how important our mission is. It is so important that families can still earn upward mobility through education, and that we can change, in my opinion. Minnesota we have the opportunity to be a leader in this, not a leader in being 48th and 50th in graduation rates for our families who come from diverse backgrounds, but really changing those predictable outcomes for racial and economic barriers that our families face. COVID-19 has been really challenging. When our school, in a non-pandemic year, 50% of our revenue comes from our corporate work study program. And you can see on here, over the next 2 years, we anticipate 30% revenue loss from our jobs being down, our jobs partners being down. Many companies want to partner with us, but with their staffs being scattered throughout the state, as well as having uncertainty in their own industry, we haven't been able to have as many partners. We've started a resilience fund to fill that gap. It's a $7 million campaign over 2 years, and right now we have just about $3 million of commitment towards that, and we have been super grateful to our donors and benefactors that have stepped forward to help us with that challenge. The resilience money helps to pay for our students to do professional development in work or work at nonprofits, so they still get that experience, still connect with those communities, and then the remainder is for some transportation and technology changes that we needed to make in order to continue to provide a high quality education in COVID-19. Now we're going to turn to the fun part of our program. We have 4 students with us: Yair, Ephraim, Isaiah, and Yanalise are here. They're all seniors. They're here to talk about their experience. If you have a question for one of them, I have a few that I can prep them with, but if you have a question, please put it in the chat function or raise your hand and we'll call on you. It's easier if you put it in the chat because we have 50 people on the chat with us right now, or on this Zoom meeting. Can't always see those things, but we can see it on the chat. So if you have a question, please do that. But first, I'm going to ask the 4 students to introduce themselves and then share why did their family choose Cristo Rey and why did they stay at Cristo Rey. I don't know who would like to go first. Yair, I know you're well spoken as you were in the poetry slam yesterday. Do you mind beginning?
Yeah, I can go first.
Thank
So
you.
my name is Yair Ponce. The reason my family decided to come to Cristo Rey is actually because we have heard really great things about it around our community. I just live a couple blocks away from the school, so we've been very involved. And the reason I decided to stay here is because of the community and the relationships I've been able to build here, especially with my teachers. I can definitely say they're the best part of the school. They're always fun, they're always engaging, and they are always there to help you whenever you need it.
Thank you, Yair. Isaiah, would you mind going next? And then Yanalise and Ephraim, if you want to go ahead, jump in when Isaiah's done. Thank you.
Yeah, so my name is Isaiah Charleston, and the reason I came to Cristo Rey was because I didn't really know where I wanted to go after middle school. And a lot of my friends were going to Cristo Rey, so I thought it would be a good idea because, I get to stay with my friends and I also get to go to a good school because I researched it a little bit. And I also didn't really want to go to a public school because my parents and my siblings advised otherwise. And the reason I stayed was because the community was something that I really enjoyed. I felt like I belonged in the community and it felt like somewhere I could really be myself.
So I'm Denise Camacho, and the reason why I came to Cristo Rey, my sister and my cousin had previously come to Cristo Rey, so my mom had an experience with the Cristo Rey community, and I pretty much didn't really have a choice because my mom had chosen my high school and I had chosen my middle school. So like there was no debate about where I was gonna go. It was like either Cristo Rey or Cristo Rey. And the reason why I stayed, I think the community and the commitment that the corporate work study program has for us and our teachers do to make sure that we succeed has been something that I wouldn't have been able to find anywhere else. So Cristo Rey is really special because they really set us up for success.
Hi, my name is Efrain. My three siblings actually went to Cristo Rey, and I just heard so many great things about it. And I was excited to experience it like my way finally, because I'm the youngest. So it was really hard to just hear about a great school and not be able to go to it. So I was really excited to grow up and experience everything that they did. And I think the reason why I love Cristo Rey and I've stayed is because, again, like everybody said, the community, we're not just a school, we're like a big family, and they don't really care about everything that's going on. They just care about our mental health and how we're going to actually be. And from work to school, they support us through it all. And through COVID, which we're probably going to talk about a little bit later, they literally are the best school because the support system has continuously allowed us to grow in the most stressful times. So that's why I feel like I stayed at Cristo Rey.
Well said. I don't see any questions in the chat, so I'm going to throw another question out. Just talk about if and Efrain, we can start with you. Where do you work, and then what are some things that you've done at work, and how's your relationship with your supervisor?
Yeah, so I work at SBS Commerce. SBS Commerce is located in downtown Minneapolis. My supervisor's name is Marcus. I work in the finance department. I really didn't know that much about the whole corporate world and everything until Cristo Rey kind of introduced me to them. And one way that I like to put it is they were kind of like the bridge, and I just had to walk through and just make the connections for myself. So that was really, really cool. I remember I've been working at SBS Commerce for 3 years. The first day that I walked in, it was extremely nerve-wracking. I'm a sophomore. I don't know what to expect in a really big corporate office. And they literally were just so welcoming. They're like, "Oh, you're the Cristo Rey students. It's awesome. We just can't wait to teach and help you grow." And I've now been able to learn more than 7 different very, very hard platforms through my SBS commerce experience. One of the ones that I like to joke around with my supervisor is Salesforce. I had no idea how to manage it at first in Excel spreadsheets, no idea, no clue how to even open one. And now I'm doing things that I could never imagine doing without my job. So they've been an amazing support system. They've allowed me to grow in so many different platforms. And yeah, I'm just grateful for Cristo Rey and for my corporate.
How about you, Yanalise?
So for me, the first 3 years, I was working at Cross Anderson in their operational service team. So it's pretty much working with them, making sure that the building was running smoothly, and then that any projects that came our way, we got them completed in a timely manner. And then for the first part of the semester, I was working with the center as part of a professional development course over the course of 10 weeks. And now I am currently working with 3M in the Global Research and Design Department. I'm creating cover sheets, and I feel like I definitely, like Efrain, when I started at my job at Cross Anderson, I had no idea what to expect. I was a freshman. I was petrified of going into corporate work study, building in a big company without knowing anyone, having to be working with adults. It's something that I never imagined. And then this year, once I started with 3M, it was a totally different experience because I was already pretty much prepared to deal with adults and just talk to them if they were someone I had known for the rest of my life. It was really a different, I could see the growth that I made from my freshman year up until my senior year. And it's definitely been a really good experience.
Well said. How about you, Isaiah?
The past 4 years, I've been working at Jamf, a tech software engineering company in downtown Minneapolis. And the most important thing I'm doing, like my main project this year is I'm rewriting a program using Angular and Electron coding for one of their apps that is going to be pushed out to people all over the world to help manage their devices. And coming into Jamf, my first day in freshman year, I was terrified because just the thought of being in such a big company was like mind blowing to me. And it was so scary. But then after a couple of years, I started getting more comfortable, and now I feel like I really built a strong bond with my supervisor, and we kind of just work well together.
Awesome. I wish you all could have seen Isaiah's presentation of learning his freshman year at Jamf, because if you saw his growth from when he did not want to say a lot in his freshman year to hearing what he just shared there, it's just tremendous. He was always super talented, and he's definitely become more of a extrovert. So, Year, how about you?
So unlike a lot of my classmates, I've had different job experience every 4 years. So my first year, I worked for ECMC, and so I worked in their bankruptcy department. I then moved to Purdue Academy, and so I helped around with supervising students' lunches, recess, when they departed, and helping just file some of their information. I then moved to Allied Solution. No, sorry, backtrack. I worked with Marsh & McLennan Agency. So I also worked in their bankruptcy department and sales department. And then I was able to transition into just the front desk, helping around everywhere around the company. And now I'm currently at Allied Solutions. My first year there, it was very different for me because I've been able to be in the actual company and their workplace and their work site. So this year has been very different, having to work virtually and far away from them, but it's been a great experience, and I've just been able to really grow. Yeah.
Well said. Here's one from the chat for students. What talk about your favorite classes? What was your what's your favorite class and why?
I can go first, actually.
Thank you.
My favorite class, which is really funny, is religion. Not because we're a religious school, but because of the way the teachers kind of connect with you. I think that almost every single class, even though it can be a little bit challenging and very, very hard at times, I think that the teachers just do an amazing job to just kind of like say like, hey, we're in this together. Like we are going to help you pass all your standards. We're going to help you get to college. And with that motivation that like I personally couldn't get with just my family, I felt like I still feel like I can literally achieve anything with my classmates. But religion has always been really interesting. I've loved learning about world religions, and just the way that Cristo Rey has put it to being open-minded and everything is really awesome.
Well said.
I would have to agree with Efrain. I would say that religion has been like the most interesting class at Cristo Rey. We learn something new every single year, and we just go into the class with an open mind. And every year, we're always surprised with what we learn. And we've just grown so much since being freshmen up until this year. To the discussions that we're having in class are definitely have opened our eyes to what other people believe, and then we're able to communicate effectively with each other about like what we believe, and then just still being respectful of everyone's beliefs and just knowing more and learning about every single religion that is in our community or not.
I can go next. So for me, it's definitely AP Spanish. Literature is what I'm taking currently this year with Miss Lopez. And the reason I say it's this class is definitely because of the teacher. I've been very lucky enough to have her my sophomore year. And so just already that strong relationship I've had with her and how fun class has been. We sometimes get sidetracked, but we always get back on topic, and just having fun while tackling these very hard literatures has just been very awesome and great, especially with Miss Lopez.
My favorite class personally would have to be religion, as long with Ephraim and Annalise, because I think the way and the experiences I've had in religion class, they've helped me realize some of the beliefs that I have today. And just being able to learn about other different religions that aren't the same as mine is something that's very interesting to me. Because I think just having that knowledge, like you don't need to practice it, but just knowing that these things exist is something I think is very important.
Well said. We have another question from chat. Does anybody want to talk about what they're going to study in college and what you want to do after college graduation? Go ahead,
I can go.
Isaiah. That'd be great.
I'm going to study computer science with a minor in mathematics, and after graduation, I may either apply back to JAM for an actual like job, or I may look for something in the gaming industry, like becoming a gaming programmer.
And then I can go next too. I want to study business in managing marketing and marketing management, excuse me. And what I want to do after college graduation is, study and also go back to my job, SBS Commerce. They've literally taught me so much. And like, again, I'm just so thankful for the corporate work study program to like connecting us, because they do a really, really well, like good job on like seeing like from the actual corporate like skills that we can learn to like the people. And I want to come back to my community and just give back. I think it's really important to me, at least, that, or to most people, sorry, that like we continuously give back to our community. And I want to work with local businesses, kind of like startups and everything, and help them grow, because my biggest like dream is to help my whole community grow.
Excellent. Thank you, Ephraim.
I can go next. Oh, sorry.
All right. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you're sorry.
Sorry. So I want to major in political science, focusing on international relations and American politics. After graduation, I hope to come back to my community and help a lot with the voter suppression problem that we've seen constantly, and just help people get more engaged in voting and know the importance that their vote has.
Excellent.
And then for me, I'm planning on studying psychology with a minor in Spanish and American Studies. After college, I'm just planning to go on to have like an actual job, and then later on continue my studies in immigration law. So going to law school and continuing my studies. I still don't know if it's going to be right after college or if I want to wait a couple of years and then go back after I have some real world experience.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat, and this isn't necessarily from the students, but just want to share that the students have, during COVID-19, we've been in distance learning. So the school purchased 550 laptop computers and 125 hotspots. And we have those, our students are taking all of their classes via the computer. And the reasons we went to that were there were a number of reasons. One, many of our families live in multi-generational homes, and we did not want students to necessarily be impacting their families in that regard. The second thing is, we all know that relationships are absolutely the most important thing in education, but the second most important thing is consistency. And we wanted to make sure that our students had a consistent platform that they were going to each and every day. And then the third absolute piece was, we've had anywhere between 40 and 120 plus students in our building every day, where students can come to the building, get support, have a quiet space to work, and work with their studies, participate in activities, do their work remotely, all of those things. And so the building has been a hub and a resource all year, but our students are taking all of their classes in a real-time synchronous education format, but online. So just want to share that with that. And then there was a couple other questions.
Yeah, Jeb, I can jump in and answer the company onboarding question.
Thank you.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. Rebecca, that's a great question. So we have 3 relationship managers that work in the corporate work study department. So when a company signs on with Cristo Rey, that team and I work very closely with each company to build a relationship with the folks who will be supervising the student, but also with leadership at your company so that we can be sure that our program is aligning with your corporate strategy and initiative for wanting to join our community. So our first step is to establish a relationship with the folks who are going to be involved with the program and make sure that there's alignment with our program and your reasoning for wanting to be a part of Cristo Rey. And then we develop a job description for the role that you'd like the student to fill. We match the student based on the student's skill and the requirements of the job. And then for the duration of the full school year, we partner with you to be sure that the student and the supervisor and the corporate initiative all marry well together. So we handle all of the onboarding that is related to human resources, but we also serve as coaches to be sure that for the duration of the school year, everything works really seamlessly and it's a well-oiled machine.
Thank you, Saya. Yeah, Elise, there's also someone here. There's a comment from one of our partners at Frederickson Byron. Frederickson and Byron has been a long-time partner with Cristo Rey, but Elise, immigration law is something you may want to look into, and there's a link in the chat for you to look at. One of our board members, Jamie Snelson, is also a partner at Frederickson and Byron. So thank you for that, Matthew. Greatly appreciate the question. Well, the last, I think we're gonna shift just for the last few minutes. I'm gonna introduce. First of all, I want to say thank you to the 4 students who have participated. It takes a lot of courage to share your thoughts, feelings, and your experience. And I greatly appreciate you sharing with us all your experience. But I'm going to turn it over now to Mr. Steve Crandall, who is our Vice President of Advancement, and he's going to talk about the next parts.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for attending, and how fantastic was it to hear directly from our talented and inspiring students. So yay to our students for all their feedback, and I hope you enjoyed their comments. So how can you get involved in Cristo Rey? Well, we're asking you to please match our students' energy and commitment and determination by investing in our school. Your investments to support our students help them in achieving their goals. And how does that look? Well, we ask that you please consider to make a gift. As Jeb mentioned earlier, we developed a resilience fund to help our students in our community through these difficult times and obstacles that the COVID-19 pandemic has caused our community. And if you decide to make a gift, please check with your employer to see if they match and double your impact to the school and to our students. We greatly appreciate that. And in these times of COVID, I don't know if you're like my family, but we've all, good or bad, increased our online shopping. So if you're not aware, you can sign up for Amazon Smile, and in doing so and shop online, you can let them know that Cristo Rey is the organization that you would like to support, and we can gain your support that way as well. Another important way that you can get involved in our community and impact our students is hire our students, as you just learned by Kasaya, our CWSP director, and Jeb. If you're in a position to hire students, we ask that you please consider to do so. And if you're not in a position to hire, but know people that are, please refer our wonderful and talented students and help support them and our mission as they work through a quality education and to move on to college. Also, another wonderful way you can help is by volunteering. Volunteering is just as important as supporting our mission. It's a way to also impact our students directly. We have developed an Access virtual mentorship program as well. Quite an experience to become a mentor to one of our students and see how your input and mentorship has impacted them. Also, become advocates within the community. We greatly appreciate anyone that wants to go out into our community and talk about our great students and the impact that they are making and the obstacles that they are overcoming And we greatly appreciate that too. So anytime you can talk about that. And last but not least, please follow us on our social media and like our posts and share. That's another wonderful way to go ahead and spread the great word about the Cristo Rey Jesuit High School mission and promote our wonderful and talented students. So with that, I would just like to say thank you very much for everybody that took time out of their day today to attend and learn a little bit more about the Cristo Rey Jesuit mission. Jeb and I can stay on to answer any questions that you may have, or you could please reach us by email or phone at any time. And we just want to say thank you for your time and have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. We have 500 wonderful student stories to share, over 700 graduate stories to share, and many of our corporate partners and supervisors and faculty and staff. We are blessed to have a community that brings people together. So thank you for taking the time today.